Guys, I think we are looking at an absolutely critical time in this market right now. So I want to break down for you exactly what I'm seeing, because Bitcoin has been making a very nice move up, exactly as predicted on this YouTube channel from yesterday. But we are approaching resistance. We are in resistance right now, and I think that this can become very dangerous for Bitcoin. Rallies like this, people start feeling a lot of relief, right? We've just dropped down by a lot. We've been in a downtrend for quite a while now, coming from about the $70,000 level. And so when we start to make a bit of a reaction rally like this from 42 all the way up to $52,000 in this case, we're doing pretty we're doing something pretty strong, right? I mean, this is definitely going to be giving the bulls a nice sigh of relief right here, up by 22%. But I think that's exactly what makes this dangerous, because if you take a look at what we're seeing right here on the fear and greed index, you're seeing a big jump up, a reading of 16 yesterday, extreme fear, to still being in extremely fearful territory. But right at the top of it now, we're about to just step into normal fearful territory, and this is quite obvious. I mean, with the market moving up like this, I think a lot of people are really going to start feeling pretty nice. But what I have to remind you about is that these temporary emotions, and they are emotions, right? Relief and feeling good and stuff like that. These are emotions. They are not necessarily going to last forever. And so what you actually have up ahead is some pretty nasty resistance right here, right? If we look at this on the 4-hour time frame, for example, of course, right now we can stretch all the way up to $57,000 without meeting resistance on this cloud. But if we just trade here into the next 2 days, we are going to find resistance in this range. And this lines up with some pretty strong horizontal resistance that we've been talking about for quite a long time on this YouTube channel. If you take a look at this, for example, let me just zoom out and show this to you. One of the key areas of resistance that I'm seeing on this chart right now is going to be around the $54,000 to $53,000 level, looking something a little bit like this, where Bitcoin, I mean, hasn't even hit its resistance range yet. So this is something which I think a lot of people just don't want to be paying attention to in this market right now. But this is a very important level, because if you look at all the reversals that have happened along this level, and especially this big one right here, I am expecting this area to potentially be problematic for Bitcoin. And obviously everyone and their nan is talking about the head and shoulders pattern, which looks something a little bit like this. So we would also potentially be fulfilling that right shoulder, and the target for this head and shoulders pattern is disgusting. It's going to put us down at like $7,000 if it plays out. So I don't think that's going to happen at all, but I am putting this on your radar because I know that a lot of other people are looking at it, and obviously, feeling a little bit of temporary relief is very much only an emotion, and we must label it like that, because I'm feeling that relief too. I can't lie. It's nice to know that Bitcoin's up quite a nice amount after such a big dump, but at the end of the day, it's still in a very bad trend. It's still only facing resistance levels now, or hasn't even faced them yet, and I think that's what kind of makes this a little bit concerning, right? If we look at this on the daily time frame and we take on the moving averages, for example, the resistance here hasn't even caught up to the trend. If we look at it on the 4-hour time frame, we're in that resistance right now. And so from a lot of different perspectives, it's clear to see that there is resistance on this chart that's going to be playing a little bit of a factor on this market, and it's actually very, very close as well. And that, to me, is what makes this so important, to make sure that we're not losing track of what's really going on in the market. A lot of people at a stage like this right now will want to, like I said, start celebrating and feeling really good about this market, but we need to stay level and conscious and realistic about what's actually going on, because if you start losing track of that at times like right now, you're going to be the classic guy that's buying high and then selling low, and obviously that's not the way that you want to be trading in these markets. So if you're able to see this stuff, you're going to be in a pretty good place. So in the last video, though, I was talking to you about Bitcoin being in a little bit of a rising wedge pattern. It's now actually broken out, and it's shown a lot of strength coming out of that. I was saying that Bitcoin could trade in something like this, but we actually just broke right out and didn't even give a fuck, which is pretty cool. We're now just pushing $52,000 as I speak, and like I said, that key resistance area is going to be around the 53 area, so I'm very interested in seeing how this goes. I'm definitely expecting Bitcoin to struggle a little bit, but seeing how it's definitely shown a lot of strength right now, I think that's a good thing for the bulls. I think that is giving the bulls a little bit of hope, and we'll start to see actually on these short time frames right now that we're already flipping back to being bullish now. On the 1-hour time frame, we've started to find a little bit of support, which is cool. There were some CME gaps, and I want to bring this to your attention as well. Here's a highlight of some of the CME gaps on the market. So we have one right here at about the 60k range, and another one quite low down at about the 30k range. We just had one with this gap on the massive sell-off, which has now been filled. So I'll just give you a slightly more zoomed in view. Bitcoin already filled this, and we're now above this price level anyway. So, a lot of people were talking about Bitcoin rising back up to fill that CME gap. Now look, there's a lot of CME gaps we haven't filled. There's one right here in the 20k range. There's one below 20k. So we're not fulfilling the CME gap prophecy as much as we used to. I think it's because so many people caught onto it now, so it's just not as useful as it used to be. But we did fill this one, so that is something I want you to keep in mind. Yes, we're not filling all of them, but we're definitely still filling most of them, and that's important, right? Take a look at here, for example. There was another gap right here, only took a few days to fill it, right? There was, I'm sure I can find many more gaps. I mean, it's quite common in these markets, but again, we tend to fill them. A big gap right here. Actually, I don't think this was a gap because of the wicks, but there are a lot at play, and it doesn't necessarily mean anything super crazy for the markets necessarily, but like I said, we have filled this one as well, so that is something that I still want to be raising to your attention. And despite the fact that Bitcoin did have a nice bullish breakout on these short-term time frames, you know, we've seen a lot of strength on the short-term time frame with this chart. For example, like I said, this big pump over here had the potential. It didn't quite do it, but it definitely had the potential to reinvigorate the trend for Bitcoin, just given how strong the pump was. But of course, we didn't have enough follow through, and I was pointing this out to you on the YouTube channel. You know, I mean, we were early to see all of this stuff in the market, to be honest. I mean, like I said, with this YouTube channel, those of you who are subscribed since like around this range, you're going to know that I started already giving you guys warning signs that this market could be ready to reverse, and it's not looking like it's in an amazing place. And obviously, like I said, I did start jumping on the bandwagon right at the end, so I was wrong about it at the very, very end. But just before that, I was quite cautious that this trend could be, you know, getting ready to reverse back down. And then, you know, for example, with this chart right here, was mentioning to you guys at many points where we could be finding resistance. And this is the thing, is that when we got these bullish moves right here, Bitcoin just couldn't make good use of them and just kept on getting rejected, and then ended up plummeting even lower. And so, you know, what I want to make very clear to you guys right now is that Bitcoin has recently displayed quite a strong tendency to, you know, do bad things with the overall trend, and then show very temporary, you know, strength, and then lose that strength as we approach resistance levels, right? And we already knew that this was a resistance level, not only with this downward trending resistance line right here, this diagonal line, but also with the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, which is something that I talk a lot about on this YouTube channel, as you know very well. This also was a problem for Bitcoin, which is, again, something that I was outlining to you guys. And like I said, I mean, it's only another 2 days that Bitcoin has. If it doesn't manage to rise beyond basically 53, it's going to have resistance right here. And so, you know, I don't necessarily think that Bitcoin is going to be pushing these highs very soon again. That would definitely be surprising. If it did, then good job. I think the bulls will have made it, and the bulls are going to be okay. But if they don't, and this thing ends up staying here, basically just a little bit more into this week, well, then I think it could get very difficult for Bitcoin indeed. And actually, I'm just curious if I measure this. Yeah, we are exactly 1.5 days away from potentially using this area as resistance. And if we look at where we could be dropping from here, I mean, I would expect a full breakout down, at least down to this area of support at the $47,000 level. That's not very low, to be honest. This is only going from 52 to 47, so I'm really, like I said, I mean, even if we drop lower, I'm not that worried. I honestly don't think that the market is looking that bad. You know, short term, yeah, not amazing. I mean, in this short term perspective, it's pretty good, but obviously when we zoom out a little bit more, not amazing. But, you know, like I said, I mean, I think 47 being a potential area of support, and below that I would be looking at around perhaps 43, maybe 42, where we bounced off before, around the lows over here. That's quite far away, so I don't want to make such a huge conclusion on that just yet. I think that if Bitcoin did fall down here quickly, that would not be good. That would probably mean that we have a high probability of sweeping that low, and we're going to end up dropping much lower, which is what I was warning you about potentially happening right here when we set a low. If we drop back down, we're probably gonna drop below. I was actually saying I was expecting a little bit of a bounce off this level anyway, because I expected it to be such a strong area of support, but it wasn't. And so that's also a demonstration of the weakness in the trend, where we have, you know, what is supposed to be, in my opinion, quite a strong area of support at the 53k level, but we fail to use it as a strong area of support, and that is generally very concerning to me, because I like to kind of read between the lines and see where I can extract, you know, information that can potentially be useful to me in those ways. And so, you know, that also goes into my trading strategy. And you guys know the deal with 4Flies VIP. We've been doing pretty well. Some beautiful testimonials right here. You guys have already read them. Just want to highlight this guy to you, who made a series of extremely impressive gains within a 48-hour window, and learning a lot inside of 2 weeks than this person did inside of 31 years, which was very impressive. And then showing a screenshot of his account, so you can see that, I mean, this is a pretty good account, to be fair. This is, I don't know, like $6,000-7,000, but it's definitely nothing crazy, right? A lot of people watching this video are going to be having account balances like this, and the reason I'm showing this to you is that, you know, some people think you got to be a millionaire to join Forthlights VIP and stuff like that, and that is definitely not the case. I mean, just having even 0.1 BTC is going to put you in a pretty good position to join Forthlights VIP, and I think a lot of people don't quite know that yet. So some beautiful results, and if you want to jump inside, Forthlights VIP is 50% off right now, and that's where you can see absolutely everything I'm trading, all the details of what I'm trading, why I'm trading it, where I'm trading it, you know, down to the exact information on why I've chosen a particular entry level over another one. So it really is a very how do I say, in-depth learning experience in the real-time market, watching me do what I do and finding out why I do it, and then also getting VIP breakdown videos of what I'm doing, and so on. You're also going to get free access into my Forthlights Academy course, depending on which plan you take. Most people get that, and so that's going to also teach you everything I know about trading and analysis from A to Z. You're going to learn it in a course, and then watch me implement those lessons in real time as well. So definitely a very cool package. All you got to do is click on the first link in the description down below, then click on the app Forthlights button, and then send message to ask me how to join Forthlights VIP. And then just coming back to the charts right here once again, if we do manage to break 53, I would be expecting a breakout up to that 56k level. I think it would be pretty strong and pretty snappy, but I don't think we're going to do that because 53 and 54 is kind of where that resistance area is, and I still don't think Bitcoin has enough strength to do that. If it does, I mean, I'll kind of reevaluate and look at what might be happening, but I am more so expecting a little bit of a drop. Maybe we enter, you know, something like a sideways trading range. I don't really know, it's too early to say. Right now, though, this looks like a very typical reaction rally to me, where we're going to be feeling a little bit of relief. That relief, no doubt, is going to get a little bit better within, you know, 8 hours when this updates again, and so I will be keeping an eye on that. And if I do, you know, really start to see that people are becoming a lot more optimistic in this market, then that will also be my cue that yeah, we're probably going to get rejected at 53, because yeah, generally, you know, 90% of people in these markets are going to be wrong. So there you go. Hope you have enjoyed this video. You know what to do. If you have, hit up the like, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Thank you all for all of the amazing support on this YouTube channel lately. I've been powering through a very sudden runny nose. I have no idea how I got it. Just literally started like an hour ago. But if you did enjoy this video, you know what to do, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.